welcome to another edition of Scoreboard on ACTN. It's always a pleasure every Tuesday evening between the hours of 8 to 9, where we bring you something that's relevant in sport in Trinidad and Tobago. Tonight's program, we're going to be talking athletics. One of our former top 800 meters runner recently retired from the sport, now is giving back to Trinidad and Tobago, and we're going to be chatting with him in a while. But before I introduce my guest, I just want to say a special congratulations to Dream Richards for a brilliant second place in the Diamond League in Doha recently, a couple of days ago. And again, we see that Dream is really pushing the flag of, flying the flag of Trinidad and Tobago. And I am certain that there is greater things from this guy yet to come. So again, Dream, congratulations. Also, I want to say early Happy Mother's Day to the ladies of the women prison. I was there on Saturday. They had a little function treating the women and their kids and things. It was well attended. And again, to all the mothers inside the women's prison, Happy Mother's Day. Well, I have the former 800-meter champion of Trinidad and Tobago and the record holder, the junior record holder, still hold the record at 1 minute 47 seconds here today. Jamaal James. Jamaal, it's a pleasure and welcome to ACTN.
Yes, thank you very much. My pleasure to be here.
Quite an impressive record. 6-time senior champion, 2-time Carifta, 2-time CSC junior, Pan American junior silver, NACC senior bronze. NCAA, sorry, senior.
Nakaku, yeah, that's the Nakaku.
Right, and making the finals at the IWF World Youth Championship. Quite an impressive record, and as I said before, still holds the national record.
Yes, one correction, I'm actually reigning national champion, not former, I'm reigning.
Oh, right, okay.
I won it last year, and the national championships are coming up
in
June this year.
Here's my correction.
Yes.
Let's talk about Jamaal James. When did it all start for you?
Around the age of 12, I would say. I was playing football at the Art Savannah one day, and Mr. Ozzie Haynes, he is Boggy Haynes' brother actually, who's played football for Trinidad long ago.
Yeah.
With Estonians, he saw me taking up football, so he said, "You have some good speed. You want to come and try?" And then the rest is history. I started in the 100, and I worked my way up all the way up to the 800. Yeah.
What kept you at the 800? Because we know that some of the 800 runners still double in the 400 meters, but you specialize in the 800.
No, actually, I did 4 and 8, you know.
Okay.
As a junior, I won junior champs at 400. Running with guys like Adi in Fort, Swede Hewitt, you know, and I actually won a Carifta 4x4 gold medal in Bermuda. Under 17, I anchored us the gold in the 4x4 in 2004 in Hamilton. So, but then to get to the highest level in the 800, you have to specialize. So once I got into the under 20 age group, I had to make a decision if I wanted to be a 800 runner. And I was better at the 8 in terms of my prospects for world-class running. So I stuck to the 800, but I still, you know, maintained a lot of speed work in training and held the 400 near and dear to my heart still.
I think the first Carifta for you was in 2003.
Yes,
and you won.
Yes, I won the gold in the under 17.
So that was the first taste of major victory wearing the national colors.
Yes, and I made my first national team the year before that, and this is actually a meet that much people don't know about, but the CUT games, that's the under 15 and under...
That's when you were at 15 years, yes.
I was 13 then, I think, and it's under 15 going all the way down. Michel, he was actually in that team.
But they don't have that meet again?
They actually have it still, they have it this year, but Trinidad isn't going due to budget constraints, in the papers, which is kind of sad because that's a meet that people cut their teeth at, you know. Michel, he passed through that meet. And Kai Selbone, and a host of the top athletes that Brown ran to the CUT games. So it's a meet that produces, and it's from under 15 going out to under 9. So it's your first real shot at international competition.
Okay, after 2003, take me through until you went away, because you went to university,
LSU, Louisiana State.
Yep. Right? Take me through that period in your life.
It was a nice period. 2003, I won the Carifta Games. I lost my coach that December, Nestor Tom Brown at Phoenix in Arima. So it was a tough period, but that set me up to deal with adversity from a young age, you know, having to lose your coach so young. Then I started working with Trevor James and with Quantum in 2005. In 2004, I came second at the Curfew Games in Bermuda, and I won the CAC Junior Championships on a Curfew 4x4 goal. 2005, I would say, was my most challenging and also successful year on a global level. And I would say that because that was my CX year. I was the favorite for the Curfew Games in Tobago. I fell down. And, you know, sometimes how the media and the public perceive things, it was reported that Jamaal James finished 7th, but no mention of the fall. You know, almost like I was a failure. But the thing I was most proud about, and my mother and other people around me, I got up. I finished. I got up and finished. I didn't stay down like a failure. I got up. Then later that summer, I went to Morocco and went to the World Youth Championships and ran the personal best in the heat, semi, and final. And I was the only athlete from the Western Hemisphere to make the final. So that was a big achievement. A little later in that summer, I went to the Pan American Junior Championships only as a 16-year-old. That's under 20 meet. I came 4th in the 800 there. So it was a good year. And the cherry on the cake is when I got my CXC results, I had all 8 passes. So that's something that parents have to be aware of. I ran at a world-class youth level, coming 5th in the world, Pan Am Juniors and all those different things in that year, which was my CXC year, and still got all 8 passes. 2006, I won the Curfew Games in Guadeloupe under 20 and the CAC Junior Championships here in Trinidad. And I left for LSU in the summer of 2006.
That was due to a scholarship?
Yeah, full athletic scholarship to Louisiana State. It was a great time. Richard Thompson was there at the time, Kellyanne Batiste, Monique Cabral, a whole host of top Jamaicans. And all
it seems that that college attracts most of the top athletes from the different countries.
Yeah, well, it varies. Back then, yes, because one of the coaches who was my coach, Mark Elliott, he was a Jamaican. And so athletes kind of tend to go where coaches are. And so it boils down to recruitment. Remember, when a coach comes to recruit a young child, and you have a Jamaican who could relate to you, as a parent, you'll feel more comfortable sending your 17-year-old or 16-year-old son or daughter with somebody who you think is relatable to them, as opposed to someone who can't relate to them. So it's always an advantage when universities have a Caribbean coach or a foreign coach who could relate. So I think that's the way you saw it happen. And now Coach Elliott is the head coach at Clemson in South Carolina, and you've seen a lot of foreigners going to Clemson also. So that's the way it works. But LSU is a top school. Coach Dennis Shaver is the head coach down there. Great coach. Produced, Richard to win the Olympic silver. So I learned a lot from seeing him in action, Coach Elliott and all the other coaches over the years.
I know that, a lot of athletes, sometimes they go to university and somewhere along the line, they don't manage the sport and the academics, 100%. But you came out, I think, with major in communications.
Yes.
Right. How challenging was for that, competing and have the education background still to work on? How challenging that was for you?
It wasn't difficult because, like I was saying, with the CXE, and that's where the foundation is laid. That's why parents should not stop their children. Sometimes I hear parents saying, hey, you need to stop the study.
It starts from that. From SEA, when the exam starts, they stop them from football, cricket,
And you have to learn to balance and multitask, so to speak, because in the real world, if someone is sick or the child has an illness, you can't tell the boss, hey, I can't come to work today. Life goes on. So it's the same level of thought that you have to learn to adapt and do multiple things at a high level at the same time. So that set me up, the foundation at Trinity College, Mocha, that I got on balancing. It set me up. And also the States, they make it very, it's conducive to high level sport and academics, because let's say you miss a class, professors are willing to email you the notes after and different things, but it's on you to communicate effectively with your teachers. So,
tell me a bit about your stay at the university, because I know you have represented them in different competitions.
Yeah, it was very, very good, successful. My first year, that's when I broke Horace Stewart's national junior record at a time of 1:47 flat at the SEC Outdoor Championships in Alabama. I won the SEC Indoor Championship also as a freshman. I was an All-American in the 800 meters indoor that year. Then the following year, my sophomore year, at the Southeastern Conference, that's the conference meet. I got silver, both indoor and outdoor. My teammates and I, we swept indoor. We went 1, 2, 3. which was historic for the school.
Okay.
I was an All-American again on the relay, this time the distance medley relay. 2010, my senior year, I was able to secure All-American honors again in the indoor 800. All-American honor means that you make it to the top 8 in the entire NCAA.
Okay.
Right? So that's what they call it.
That's a huge achievement.
A huge achievement. You're talking about hundreds of schools and thousands of athletes, and to make it
that comes like winning the gold in the Olympics.
Yes, so that's why
or making a final in the Olympics. Then
so that's why I like the U.S. system, that they let people know this guy's an All-American because he is at the top level. He made to the top 8, and so he's among the best of the best. So I was a 3-time All-American, 2-time Southeastern Conference champion. All SEC, that's the same thing, but it only do that for 2nd place at conference. I was 3-time All SEC also, so it was successful, and I made the freshman academic honor roll. Okay. For so again the balance was there all the way through.
A lot of us sometimes look at success through either gold, silver, or bronze. But coming back to what you were saying there, just making a final in Olympic is a huge achievement, because you are competing with athletes from all over the world, and to make that final cut of 8. Yes, you didn't win the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, but just to make that. But if we had to talk a bit about moving away from the educational aspect, do you think that you could have achieved everything that you did in track if you had remained at home?
No. To be quite frank, not because I think we don't have the level of competition. That's the first thing, right? We don't have the level of, especially in my event. But in my event, it was unique in the sense that we didn't have much experience at high-level 800-meter coaching, right? So a lot of things I had to figure out along the way. Even after I was finished in college, I had a great coach, Frank Gagliano, on the professional circuit, American coach, and coach top guys. But a lot of it, I started to figure out on my own. I didn't have people to fill in the gaps for me, right? Just learning proper breathing techniques, proper dietary habits, and all those different things. And I was bitter about it at one point in time as to how I couldn't have the support. But seeing the direction my life is heading, and I always wanted to be a coach, I have realized now that I went through all those trials and tribulations to equip me to help the next generation.
Because there'll always be people who will be coming your way with the same challenges that you had, and you can firsthand now chart that course for them.
Yes, so I was a guinea pig, right? I had to learn the top level, understand it, figure it out, learn the circuit, and so I am joyful that I had to go through all those things now. And sometimes the trials prepare you. If you have to train a soldier, you have to train them with the hardest training, hardest principles, the Navy SEALs and different people. You put them through rigorous training. So my training put me through a different level of preparation where now I could help out the second generation coming after me.
After university, what direction you went?
I ran in the pro circuit for 8 years. I had a lot of success too. I got down to 146.57, which is the number 3 time on the all-time Trinidad list. Only 2 guys ahead of me, Sheridan Kirk, the national record holder, and Mike Solomon, that's Jaron Solomon's father. Right? So I'm number 3 on the all-time Trinidad list. I ran in multiple meets all over Europe, in Switzerland, Ireland, Belgium, different places in the Caribbean. It was a great career. I made a lot of friends, and I just learned the ropes, so to speak. And I think that set me up now for where I'm going into. I have an interest in professional track and field. I think we actually have a lot of coaches at the character level already, and that's taken care of. Where we are missing that niche on a local level, that age group between 20 and about 25.
Yeah, but what you think is missing? Because now I understand what you're saying here, and off camera we were talking a bit about the same issue. Where do you think we are lacking? Because you said the character, we okay there, but maturing out of the character is where we're lacking. What are we lacking?
I would say top level coaching education, right? The IAAF courses and different things that we put on, they're okay, but it's almost like, a mechanic who who try to learn to fix cars by reading books or actually seeing somebody doing an apprenticeship type of deal. I don't know if we have enough top level exposure, just the basic things like the proper warm-ups and the proper drills. I say all the coaches and we people know the things in theory, but seeing it in action is a whole different ballgame. So me coming from the belly of the beast, so to speak, seeing it firsthand, when you're in the circuit, you're lying down for your race.
And having learned it on your own.
Yeah, on my own. And you pick up things from other top athletes. If you go just to prepare for your race, and I'm lying down, if my race is at 8 o'clock, you always get there about 2 hours before. I'll be lying down and seeing Usain Bolt warming up or somebody else warming up, getting ready for their race. I remember 2014, I think I was in the Cayman Islands. So one of those years, and Bolt came to run. And I was just there in amazement, watching his warm-up, watching his stride pattern, watching the drills he did. And so you pick up all these things, and we don't see these things on the TV camera. And even when guys show documentaries, coaches are not going to show everything. So now when you're out there, you're seeing it firsthand, you're seeing all the drills and what they do. And that's what I think we are lacking. And we have to try somehow, some way to bridge that gap. But we need to also professionalize the field and incentivize it. I don't know how we could do that, but we need to try to, most of our coaches, in fairness to them, they are volunteer coaches and they all have jobs. They come after work to their job. Whereas in Jamaica and these places, coaches are paid to coach. So when these guys could hop on a plane and go to Germany or Prague or Kenya even and get latest training tips and technologies, we have guys who go into work as teachers or, WASA or whatever, and then come into the track after, take off their work clothes, put on their whistle and watch. And no offense to them, they are trying their best.
They're doing well,
But it's like you go into a gunfight with a knife, right? So that's the level, that's the difference in the athletes that we see. All our athletes are talented, we're just as good, and the coaches are willing. But I said, it's tough to tell a man, hey, leave your job, and come and coach full time, and he has a family to mind. That's the reality of it. So to answer the question, I would like us to see us professionalize the coaching. We have a lot of talk about medals and accomplishments and different things that we'd like to accomplish. The first thing is coaching. Right?
Hold that thought from well. We need to take a short break. Viewers will be right back after the short break. Right.
Now changing your question.
What I would say, Steve, is this.
My first question was, and roll back that tape.
I made my debut for Crystal Palace against Tottenham Hotspur.
My responsibility was to get the ball and make things happen offensively.
All the time we've played together, I've always been the decoy. Welcome to Field of Dreams on ACTN. My name is Steve David, and I'm your host.
Good evening, Trinidad. Welcome to another edition of Scoreboard here on ACT, and it's always a pleasure to be in your company every Tuesday evening between the hours of 8 and 9.
Welcome to the new season of Football 101. I am your host, Joshua Matos.
Well, it's time for your weekly football news update. Hello, Messi.
Fortunately,
Kiss the badge, kiss the badge.
What's that?
Welcome to this edition of The Interview, and as you can see, I'm not alone on the set. I have Marcus, a Liverpool fan, and I have Shakir.
Welcome back, viewers. This is Scoreboard on ACT, and we are chatting with Jamaal James, former 800 and reigning national champion. Jamaal, before the break, we were discussing about different methods and techniques of training and coaching. Are we going to be seeing Jamaal James in the forefront of leading that, I wouldn't say that fight or that struggle, but leading, person to get that proper technique and coaching system in place for our athletes? Because we are at a point where our athletes are producing. right? We have seen by way of medals, and then we have seen by way of time and consistency with some of our athletes. So I think this is the right time and the season for a higher level of coaching to develop.
Yes, right. Most of our athletes who have had success, you know, they train in the States. Even Keyshawn, he has a Cuban coach, Ishmael, who is based here. And we had Doc, who trained JU champion, Dr. Ian Hippolyte, the World Championship in 2013. So we have had a blueprint and somebody who's done it before. So I would like to rekindle that spirit and, you know, take it to the next level with total local champions, as in people who have been trained locally, live locally, and they compete at the highest level. And because something that if you look at a lot of the medalists, and I would probably like to see someone do a study on this, but a lot of the medalists who medal all over the world in all the events, most of them train in their home country, right? And reading a lot of books on coaching and coaching education, a top Italian coach, a guy called Renato Canova, coach marathon athletes and stuff. But he said for athletes to have top level success consistently, they have to be happy on the track and happy off the track. A lot of times when our athletes are training overseas and stuff, a lot of guys have children who live here and they're in the States. It's tough to be fully in one place.
Yes.
If your daughters are in Trinidad and you are in the States or vice versa. So we need to have a system where if guys want to train here, they could train here, but they compete overseas. That's what the Jamaicans said. Bull didn't really race in Jamaica. Bull would race in Jamaica once for the year, but he would race overseas. I would like us to get to the point now where athletes could train to a very high level here and then leave and compete. Actually,
but do you think we have the necessary infrastructure at home to produce these athletes? And
I would say yes. The truth of the matter is you go to Jamaica, you go to Kenya, you go to a lot of top level countries in track. It's grass tracks they train on, they go to the stadium once a week.
Okay.
The sophistication and the infrastructure is here. They have mental infrastructure, mental sophistication, right? It's not so much about the physical things. You could have all the perfect stadiums in the world and all the good training techniques and all that stuff. And if the coach doesn't know what he's doing at the right time, you're wasting time, right?
So there is no difference between a Mondo track and a grass track.
Yeah.
When coming to when coming to the coaching, is really you're saying is here.
Yeah, no, there is a difference in the sense of so it's better to have both, which the Jamaicans do. They have the best of both worlds.
Right.
So some days they go onto the grass, some days they go onto the track.
But the bottom line is up here.
Yes, it's up there.
It's a mental
right? Because as simple as this, the Mondo surface, which we don't have Mondo here. We have a different type of rubber. It's a special type of they made it up, a special formula, right? Because Mondos are harder material, and that's really for cold weather countries. In our heat, it tends to get hard and dry out faster, right? But Mondo itself is not the best training surface because it's very hard on the joints. So a lot of these places have the Mondo track as a competition track. They have a training track or warm-up track next to the stadium, which is a softer surface, right? So just little things like that. So if you have the athletes on the track one day, then they go on the grass one day, you take some of the pressure off the legs. So it's the best of both worlds, right? In terms of our tracks and our facilities, there's no difference a lot of places, to be honest. You know, we have a good gym, you know, the good gyms all over the country. It may not be sport company or the government, but athletes can still have access to it. We have, because a lot of these places is private sector, you know. The U.S. Olympic Committee, yes, they have a training center, but majority of the athletes train in private sector places, like the Claremont camp, where we have Marshall Cedeno, Keston Bledman, Kellyanne Batiste, Shawnee Miller, the Olympic champion from Bahamas. A lot of them who train at these places are private place. It's called the National Training Center, but it has nothing to do with the U.S. Olympic Committee or USA Track and Field. It's a private area, a nice track. They have a gym up the hills, down in the valley, and they do all their work in that little area. And a lot of the top athletes train high school tracks in the States. You're not talking about sophistication at all in the way we think. I said the sophistication comes from the program. The program is very sophisticated. The coach knowing when to put in certain things, when to take out certain things. They'll call it something called hurdle mobility. You'll see all the coaches always bring the hurdles out. They're not hurdlers, you're using the hurdles to open up the hips, the hip flexors, to make sure the athlete can sprint effectively with open hips. So and you have to know, you can't overdo all these exercises, you know when to do it, when to pull back. It's about calibrating the athlete. It's something as simple as a coach could be doing everything right for 90% of the program. If his race week program is off as in he takes the athlete too close to the edge, too close to the race, he could get a flat performance on the race day, right? Because it's
not picking at the right time.
Not picking at the right time, but he could do everything else right, you know. But his race week preparation is off. So those are the things that we have to improve on and keep learning, actually. So I would like to see us bring in coaches who actually train the athletes and come down here for a symposium, learn something, and that type of thing, instead of, you know, we bring in abstract, you know, coaches and people who don't have a connection to Trinidad. And remember, the psyche of every country is different. So what is going to work on a Trinidadian athlete or somebody else is not necessarily going to work on a Jamaican, right? Jamaicans are for the most part very aggressive, the Jamaican male, right? So the way you'll motivate him is not going to be the way you motivate a laissez-faire trainee who like to laugh.
A lay-back athlete.
So you know that. So and it's just a difference. So sometimes it's yin and yang. So if the athlete is already fiery, the coach may have to bring him down a little bit, calm him down, calm the fire. If the athlete is laissez-faire, that's when the coach have to light a fire on them. So you can't, it's not a one-size-fits-all. There's a lot of sports psychology and just general human psychology, understanding the background of the athlete and why they're running. There may be an athlete who's running for glory. There may be an athlete who's running because he wants to put money on his parents' table. So, and you as a coach, when you understand the reasons why they're running, you approach them in a completely different way.
Now, how are you, because I saw you at the MAP Invitational there, and I saw, well, I was close by when I heard you explaining to the, I think it was the announcer or somebody, the reason why you're going to be using the rabbit, the guy, right? No, I want you to explain, because that's something new in Trinidad and Tobago. You know, people hearing rabbit in race, they want to know what it's about.
Right.
But I think to me it's the first time I saw it locally.
Right.
Right? So I want you to explain to us the method behind it and what are your plans going forward, giving back in track and field.
Right. So with the rabbiting science, it's almost like racing cars, you know, when they have drafting, when somebody goes behind someone to cut the wind and different things. So when somebody is setting a pace and is a rabbit, they are taking all the wind and all the elements ahead.
Not necessarily this person going full speed ahead.
No, not full speed. It has to be in a controlled way.
Right.
So where they are pulling the field behind them, right? So the European meet directors pay big money for rabbits. So you see races on TV, you see somebody run the first 600 and then they drop off. Yeah. Right, that's to set the tempo. Because most times, if you don't, you get a tactical race, and tactical races are slower races. Earlier in the season, athletes need to get a fast time to qualify for the CAC games or the World Championships or whatever meet is coming up. So they need a fast time. So you'll have to get a rabbit to set that tone. So the rabbit goes out at a certain prescribed pace, and then you would say, okay, he's going the first 400 in 52 seconds or 51 seconds, and you go up to 500 or 600. Then they step off the track, and then the athletes continue in the main for the last 200. That's when they're trying to run a fast time. Because
correct me if I'm wrong, before the rabbit drops out, I would be consuming a lot more energy because I would be like breaking the wind and all this. So it helps me with that last burst of speed.
Yes, it helps you stay relaxed. Okay. Right? Because it's always harder to run from the front. They did studies. I think it's about 7%, not exact, but in that range. It's about 7% harder to lead a race than run from in the pack, somewhere in the pack. Again, because the momentum, people around you.
That's especially with the longer distance.
Yeah. So from 800 going up, 800 going up specifically. So you, like my last coach, Frank Gagliano, before I came to Trinidad, he would always say, you want to be leading the last 100 meters. It doesn't matter who lead for 720 meters, you know. It's who's leading in the last 80 meters going to win the race. That's when the medals and the money is handed out. Nobody's concerned with the first 720 meters. Right? So an 800 running was always a tactical race. That's why people always love the 800. It's actually one of the most popular events in Europe, going back to days with Sebastian Coe, Want Arena. That's a blue ribbon event on the circuit when the 800 comes around. And that's what I want to get, you know, people loving the 800 because it's a fun race. It's a long, engaging sprint. It's 2 laps. It's half a mile. So overall, I would like to change the whole mindset towards racing here. You know, before races were a little too tactical and cagey.
Do you think that people will be willing and open-minded to accept you coming in and bringing this new culture and this new change?
Yes, I think so. So far, I've had very cordial relationships with most of the coaches who have been in the game. Because since I was a young athlete, most of them have been around.
Okay, so
and you know, I always speak very well with them. Mr. Nanku, who is the coach at Cougars, is very telling that he allowed Ashton, who was his top athlete, to come and work with me when I was still training. He was my training partner, and now I'm coaching him.
That's the guy who won the
yes, who won at MEP. He's a top guy, and is telling that he allowed me to work with a top athlete, because a lot of times you don't see people releasing the athlete to work with somebody else, and that's something I would like to.
That's the reason why I asked that question. Because you know, coaches very cagey with their athletes.
Yes, well, I would like it to, in the sense, to change the paradigm. I'm not about the club system per se. It doesn't matter. Like I'm registered with Abilene Wildcats. Somebody from Cougars like Ashton could train with me. Defense Force. It doesn't matter what club you're from. You could run for your club on the weekend. Let's train. There's a saying, iron sharpens iron. Right? You have to get the best athletes to train together.
And especially if the athletes don't have the opportunity to go abroad, they get in the first hand from somebody who was there in the trenches now. You know?
Yes, very true, very true. And like the example of the Jamaicans, we love to quote them and look at them. 2012, the Olympic 200-meter final, 1, 2, 3. Usain Bolt, Johan Blake, Warren Way, same coach, right? All these three guys training together, right? You saw it, Atto and Maurice Green, 1, 2 in the Olympics. Same coach, John Smith, right? Iron sharpens iron. You always see top athletes training together.
But there's another side to that, because I mean, when Atto could not have beaten Maurice Green, and they always come in second. People say, well, why you don't leave? Why you don't leave? Because they will always train the American to win. You know, so there's another side to that.
I believe in the ethos and the spirit of coaching.
No one coaches one person to your coach. You know,
I believe coaches who are, you know, genuinely into coaching, they want the best for the athlete themselves.
Yeah, they're not going to favor one for the other.
They're not favoring, right? Because there are other examples where you've seen foreigners training with an American coach or vice versa, and they get big results. You know, Shawnee Miller won the 400-meter final at the Olympic Games. She dipped Alison Felix on the line. Shawnee Miller's coach is an American, Lance Broman. So saying that there are a lot of examples, and if we take away, and all the times people think national pride and different things, you have to understand it boils down to dollars and cents. If an American coach is coaching at Trini and that man wins the Olympics, there's money in his pocket, he concerned with that at the end of the day.
I think that's where the professional aspect of coaching comes in.
Right. And a lot of times we would like to think it's about patriotism and, well, yes, it sounds good, but if you on the circuit and you see the cool hard facts of it, this coach wants his athlete to win, one, because he believes in being a top coach, and two, the more money, the better the athlete does, the coach gets a bonus from Adidas or Nike or whatever shoe company the athlete is contracted to. So it's a whole different world out there, and it's not so much about nationality, to be honest, you know, and in the sense we had Ishmael Lopez here, who trained Keisha into Olympic gold.
Yeah, he could have been training somebody in
He could have been
Cuba.
training a Cuban or somebody. So I think we have to get away from that mindset. And same here, I would like it to get to the point where we are producing top coaches, where athletes will want to come to Trinidad to be trained. Look at it again, Jamaica, Glenn Mills, Wade Van Niekerk, the Olympic 400 champion and world record holder. He spent some time in Jamaica before the Rio Olympics. You see athletes from Kenya, from Trinidad, even Nicholas Lando, our young 800 guy, he went to Kenya to train for a little bit. You see athletes from all over the world going to Kenya to train now, to see what's their secret. So I would like us to get to the point where there's a Trinidadian secret. And we, again, will be building human capital, right? And bringing people that would bring money to the country eventually. There's not a short-term project, but we have to get to the point where we could produce top coaches. We have good weather year-round. We have good facilities. We have good hills. We're in South right now. The hills all over the place. Athletes need hills to run on. We have beaches for beach runs. All those things help the muscles develop. So here's a place of raw natural resources and raw natural talent in terms of athletes, and we have to find a way to harness it now.
Now, I hear all what you're saying, but it comes down to another point that our athletes need, and we seldom get it. That's the support from the Trinidad and Tobago public. We need to take another break. When we come back, we'll continue this discussion. But primary school, secondary school events in Jamaica, the stadium is filled to capacity, gates are locked. When Keyshawn won the gold medal, there was no room at the airport. But before Keyshawn won the gold medal at the senior champ, there was about 500 people. We're going to discuss that when we come back. Yes, I'm talking to Jamaal James, and we're talking track, talking a bit about his career and what is happening with his sport and what he tends to give back. We'll be right back after the short break.
You're now changing your question.
What I would say, Steve, is this.
My first question was, and roll back that tape.
I made my debut for Crystal Palace against Tottenham Hotspur.
My responsibility was to get the ball and make things happen offensively.
In all the time we've played together, I've always been the decoy. Welcome to Field of Dreams on ACTN. My name is Steve David, and I'm your host.
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to another edition of Scoreboard here on ACT, and it's always a pleasure to be in your company every Tuesday evening between the hours of 8 and 9.
Welcome to the new season of Football 101. I am your host, Joshua Jamaal.
Well, it's time for your weekly football news update. Hello, me, Messi.
Unfortunately, kiss the badge, Oh,
What's that?
Welcome to this edition of The Interview, and as you can see, I'm not alone on the set. I have Marcus, a Liverpool fan, and I have Shakir.
Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to Scoreboard here on ACTN. Jamaal, before the break, we were talking about all the different aspects of coaching and what to do and everything. But it comes down now to athletes. You as an athlete, I'm sure in your career abroad, you ran in events that were filled with supporters and lovers of track and field. Our athletes here, our biggest event is the senior champ. And when you go to the senior champs, you have maybe 500, 600 people. How does an athlete, perform? I know you're not supposed to study who is in the stand. But is it a mind thing that I come here to run when I running outside, especially a guy like you or Bledman and these guys who running outside to stadiums with crowd and you hear it? Because I'm sure that noise factor tends to. But in Trinidad, you're running national senior champs, 500 people, stadium dead. Does that affect you in any way? How?
Well, senior champs are a unique meet in the sense of it's a national championship and your friends and family are there for the most part, but your close friends and family. So you also want to do good. So that carries a unique kind of pressure.
Okay.
I actually always felt the most pressure running at home than running outside, because home, your friends there or the media on your back. So you always want to perform at home. But to answer your question, in the larger scale of the numbers, I think we need to do a better job marketing the meet. And I know the entries have some ideas coming up, with younger former athletes like Zoe Hewitt and different people to try to have a better marketing strategy targeting a wider audience. I remember I went to a meet in Switzerland, Lucerne, Switzerland, nice town, about an hour south of Zurich, I think. And being an eat and drink, I have to go around the town to do my long runs. So I think I had a 4-mile run on the outskirts all over the town. And I saw flyers for this meet all over Lucerne, right? And so everybody in the town knew that a meet was coming on, right? And it was well marketed. You saw it on the bus stop, everywhere, the McDonald's, wherever you went, you knew that a big time meet was coming to the city. And a lot of times people tell me, I didn't know y'all were running, right? And people, Nike, one of the biggest sporting goods companies in the world, they spend millions of dollars in advertising and marketing. Because even though you have a good product, you have to market it.
Yeah,
right?
It must be.
Yeah, the Champions League is the biggest thing. All Trinis love football. Heineken have the little Champions League thing all over the country. And you always see ads, Champions League, the Premier League. everywhere, and they have established multi-billion-dollar brands, and they still advertise. So our sport, we have to do a better job of marketing our sport and making it, because sport is entertainment.
Yes.
Let people know why they're going to be entertained. We have to do a better job of telling the stories of the athletes, creating a narrative. You know, there's Sparkle McKnight, our 400 hurdler, who just ran at the Commonwealth Games. Top hurdler, 55.1, ranked 15th in the world right now. She's a young mother. We need to have a human interest side to that, saying, hey, Sparkle, how do you balance being a top athlete with being a mother? Bledman just got married.
Yeah.
He has his 2 daughters here. Hey, Bledman, how do you keep up with your daughters? And we create a human interest story now, where people now come to the stadium and rooting for Bledman. Yeah, boy, Keston, I want you to win because I see how you're struggling. Your daughter's out there.
I've seen where communication expertise coming in now.
Yes, yes. So we have to create a narrative.
And you all in marketing, you always have to be trying different strategies because times changing, and methods that you would use 2 years back, even the methods you used last year, you can't use it this year again because things have changed.
Yep, very true. And again, it's all about how you feel, right? When people watch, you know, sports, like I am an Arsenal supporter. When Arsene Wenger's last game at home on the weekend, they had a big presentation, and I felt sad. I felt a shed of tear because it's the end of an era. But again, they create that narrative. You feel it, you feel the passion. And that's what sports is a feeling. It's not only about the gold medal, you know, right? If that was the case, football stadiums up and down the world would be empty. And we know that's not the case. Only one team could win, yet still you 20 teams in the league, and each stadium is filled. Because people care about the feeling. It's not so much only about the gold medal. So we have to create that connection between the athletes and the general public. And so that's where proper marketing comes in. A proper communication strategy has to come on board. So hopefully, you know, we can see some changes. I know the entry is trying, you know, in fairness.
I always say that you need, and we spoke about that off camera, you need to bring in your former athletes, especially the younger guys, you know, that fresh blood, that fresh, you know, ideas. Now, I know that you're with UE right now.
Yes.
Right? Now, UE has great former Jamaican Olympian Grace Jackson. Are we going to be seeing a new breed of track and field athletes coming out of UE?
Yes, that's the goal. That's the goal. Grace has a big vision for, you know, UE, and the spec in general, they're trying to change it where it's like a sport academy, you know, where sport degrees and different things can be handed out from the spec itself. Dr. Jason Pilgrim is on board also, and right now they're offering a coaching diploma 1-year program. And so former, you know, athletes who are here and they don't want to go to the States, they could come and join that diploma program and also be a part of the track team. So they're trying to find ways to entice younger athletes and people who don't necessarily want to go to the States or can't go for whatever reason to stay here. So the long-term vision is to have it come up to the level of even a university program like the States or UE Mona. And Grace was the director at Mona for a number of years, and she built it up. So now the goal is to build St. Augustine campus to a world-class level also.
Now, looking back at Jamaal James' career, are there any regrets? Or if you had the opportunity to do it all over again, will you do it the same way, or what changes you will make?
Honestly, there are no regrets in the sense that based on myself being a coach now, I see why I went through the things I went through to learn the things I had to learn because I always wanted to be a coach. So I realized I went through that initiation almost to become a top coach. So at the time, I'd have told my younger self, enjoy it some more. You know, there'd be times I'd run fast times. In 2012, I got up to, I think, number 72 in the world, which is a big deal. And I still didn't enjoy it at that moment because I was, you know, only focused on getting better. And, you know, I was running all these big meets. Like I said, Lucerne, I ran the Morton Games in Dublin, Ireland. I ran the nice meets in Belgium at the Memorial Van Damme Stadium. Big stadiums, nice meets. And I still was always thinking, now, well, this is not the Diamond League. I want to go to the Diamond League. But there's the A circuit, which is, of course, the Diamond League. That's the highest level. But there are many meets on the B circuit that pay decent money, treat you well. And so I would have told myself, listen, you're doing it big. You know, enjoy it. You're on the circuit. You're running
So you made a decent living from...
I wouldn't say decent because, I mean, remember, you have to put out a lot also. Right? So, yes, you make some money on the circuit, but it comes very sporadically. So, and because of our funding situation here, that also comes sporadically. So you almost broke even, so to speak. So I wouldn't say it was decent living, but it was a very rewarding life in the sense of traveling a lot, meeting friends.
So basically, it's a sacrifice that you have to make.
Yes.
Else, somewhere along the line, you're going to fall apart.
Yes, it's a sacrifice. And that's the exact reason why I hung it up. I started running at 12. I'm 29 now. That was 17 years.
That's a long time.
A long time. And I left for university in 2006, right? And so I was away from family and friends for a long time. And even though I moved home in 2015 to train, although I was training here, I was still always competing and traveling on the circuit. And I was never really here mentally because it was focused on the next race or the next training session. And it was a sacrifice I didn't want to make anymore. And I also felt like now is the time to step away and put my lifeblood into somebody else, into the future. Because I felt like there's also about taking the momentum. There's a saying, stopping while you're ahead. Taking that momentum into the other phase of my life. Sometimes in life is a funny thing. I like very philosophical things. And when somebody stops because the sport spit them out and kick them out, that's very different to stopping because you want to stop and taking that same momentum into another area of your life. So I've gone full steam into coaching with that same energy and enthusiasm that I use for training into coaching now, right? I qualified for the CAC games and the NACAC championships. So my first and only race this year, earlier this year, I ran 149.3 at the Commonwealth Trials. I was left off the team. And so at that point, I just said, you know what?
That's it.
It's time. I have had enough. And I'm the reigning national champion. My health is good. I feel good. I rabbited the final at the Commonwealth Trials. I put Lando, same rabbiting principle we talked about. I took that race up to 400, stepped off the track and passed on to the next generation because at this point in time, that's what it's about. And the journey doesn't stop with me. All the experiences that Jamaal James would have gained, I take into the future. And we are a very young society, and I like us as a society to not be so hard on ourselves and change our mindset for the long term.
Well, I was going to ask you that, a question similar to what you end off there with. Do you think that Trinidad and Tobago appreciate the sacrifice that our sportsmen and women make? Because, as you said, you have been away from your family all over the world, you know, having to fund yourself at times, do this, do that. And then, you know, you retire, you come back home, and it's like, do you think that sportsmen and women in Trinidad and Tobago are treated unfairly? Especially, we know that they treat them unfairly once you win a gold, silver, or bronze, but when you retire from the sport, right, a lot of our athletes just fade away with no recognition or anything. How do you look at that?
I fully agree. I think we don't pay enough respect to the former athletes and former football players, all sports. We don't give them enough respect. And, you know, one of the things I'd like to see us change is where we bring in, you know, an ex-player, you know, type of union or some sort of thing where these people have some sort of say in the current affairs of the local landscape. And,
certainly.
And the biggest thing with our story with sport, again, people don't know what the athletes really have gone through. Or what
that's what I'm trying to,
And what we would have to do though is tell a better story. So programs like this one here, me telling my story, and getting more of these programs out into the mainstream media, through social media, and then people will actually have a connection again.
Definitely.
I am living here in Trinidad, and I could pull up things on Pep Guardiola or a big manager, and I know about them. People don't know about our athletes, our coaches, our sports people in general, because no one is telling the story, right? And it boils down to a story has to be created. So yes, it's on the job of the media. It's the job of the media also, and also the job of the athletes to make themselves available to telling their story, so people would say, hey, yeah, I like him, I like his ideas. And going forward when he retires, because as a company, if you don't know what somebody brings to the table, and we're going in the business world now, you're not going to invest money or pay. And just because he win a gold medal, it's not worth it unless you know what he brings to the table. But if you know what this guy brings to the table, you like his thought process or the way he carries himself, you say, yes, I want to support him. Hey, when you're done, we'll give you a job here, or we'll have you as a sport ambassador. So it goes both ways, and we as athletes have to make ourselves available to tell our story, and also the media have to do a better job, and also the associations in promoting.
Because, okay, look for instance, Mani Ramjan Stadium, right? Mani Ramjan, a barefoot runner, right? There is nothing in the stadium who tell that the stadium is named after that has a picture of him all right, at Boland Stadium, right? The older folks will know Atto Boland. The younger folks, you're going into Atto Boland Stadium. Who is Atto Boland? Right? Paisley Crawford, right? So we need to have, you know, the history there for us. Right? But before we end, I want to kind of talk a bit about our sportsmen and women. I'm not going to pinpoint track and field or anything, but sportsmen. Do you think that our athletes go out there with a mindset that there is life after sport? Because we have seen a lot of our sportsmen and women, after their career come to an end, they come back home and it's like hand to mouth there. You understand? Do we go out there with a plan that, okay, we're going to compete, but during our competing days or university days, we're going to do this so when we finish, we can come back and enroll in some business, or for instance, like you come back and what you're doing at UE, or we just go out there, you know, say we're going to make money in sports, and at the end of the career, we come back and there's nothing for us. What advice would you give to a young aspiring athlete who is looking to go to UE or to go abroad or to follow a similar track like yours? What you will give them, advice you'll give to them?
I will tell them balance as you would, right? You have to put things in place off the track, just as on the track, or on the sporting field, as opposed to off the sporting field. And you have to have that balance between friends and family. And I'll say this, I've seen Olympic gold medalists from the States and different countries. They're broken people, as in, not in terms of money, but in terms of I would say spiritually, relationships. Because sometimes you sacrifice all this for this gold medal, and when all the cheering goes away and they move on, the circus moves on to support the next person, right? All you have is your gold medal and that's it, you know. All your friends move on because you would have been living in wherever, training, focus, and the truth of the matter is people move on with their lives. So you have to know that you can't also abandon your friends and family, and you have to have that balance. And one of the best examples that I see of that right now is Jeremy Richards. You always see his mother involved, you always see, and he is a good template to follow. And you have to stay grounded, keeping your friends and family close, because when it's all said and done, a lot of the people who are there for the good times only, they move on. You know, you see the same old characters, they supporting this athlete right now, and they have good things to say. And as soon as somebody else come on, the same bandwagon going to the next athlete and saying the same things to that athlete. So I would tell athletes, make sure that you focus on your friends and family, and also focus on off-the-track endeavors. If it's a coaching clinic, or you're putting on clinics, or reaching out to corporate companies to do summer camps or something, just to get your foot into the work world while you're still an athlete, right? Richard Thompson did a good job with that. He had NP camps and stuff. So you're setting yourself up for post-career initiatives.
So you are going to be that forefront now to educate our coaches, to bring them to that level where we see no my athlete or your athlete, but we see an athlete representing Trinidad and Tobago going out there with the best coaching method to accomplish, because over the last couple of years, we have collected a lot of medals. So we can only get better from this point on.
Yes, and that's the goal, to find a way where we have to learn from our current athletes who are doing well. So we have to find a way to bring in Michelle Yahi, bring in Jareem. Could you all pass on some of your knowledge to us? And so how do you warm up? What are some of the stretches you do? So I would like to build a database. That's my goal. That where people could see what the champions do, what the Trinidad top athletes do, and they could now pass this on to their athletes and understand. In terms of me educating the coaches yet, I don't think I'm on that level yet where I could educate. When
I say educate, I mean by way of your real life experience.
Yes, very true, very true. Yes, I'll definitely pass on what real life experiences I could, and I'm always available to help. You know, when I see coaches, I give them little tips about what I see, what I saw other top athletes do. So I'm available for that. But in terms of coaching, I still feel like I'm learning also, and it's a new paradigm, but it feels good to be to be on the other side of the stopwatch now, as opposed to
you don't miss the track?
Actually, no, because when I was there, I was all in.
Okay.
So 17 years, I was all in. So, and I always knew when I stopped, I wouldn't be one of those athletes who come back on, because I was all in.
What about the Masters?
No. I'll still do more runs. Like this morning, I did a nice 2-mile run.
So that's it. That's it. You're not going to come back.
No.
Like
no, that's it.
Yeah.
I'll still do more runs. I actually still stay doing runs and drills and all those things. I think that's just part of staying fit.
You remind me of Heidi and Harper. She asked many times Masters. She's into coaching now too with Gunners Prasad at Simplex.
Right, yeah.
You know?
I think when you run at a very high level, like Mr. Serrett and Hazley and them, they don't want to see races too. You know, when you run for so long, I mean, in 1 year in university, I run 35 races. Then on the pro circuit, you're traveling and running 10, 15 races a year in different places. I think if you add up the amount of races I've run, it's probably over 500, 600.
Yeah, so that's your say life.
I enough racing in my life already. You know, it's time just to... But I do love running. I enjoy the feel of going out for a run and just feeling the breeze on your face, and it's like that's my form of meditation. That's how I cool my head. You know, if I'm feeling stressed out, I go for a 3-mile run. By the time I come back home, I'm feeling nice and relaxed. So I'll stay running.
Before we end, I know that, you know, when you reflect back on your career, there are hundreds of people that you will want to say a special, you know, thank you, appreciation. You want to take this opportunity to name a few? Yes. I know it's going to be long, but...
Yes, you know? for sure. Tom Brown at Phoenix deceased, his wife, and Cynthia, she's still alive. Mr. Ali St. Louis, former military man. He's our South man also. He's deceased also. He coached me at Phoenix. Mr. Ozzie Haynes, who discovered me, and his brother, Buggy Haynes. I played at his coaching school, football when I was younger. Joel Warwick, who I played with in Trinity Nationals for football. All the teachers at Trinity College, Miss Michelle Watts, who is the panel ranger for, I think, Valley Hops. And Diego Martin. She was my music teacher, my form teacher. She had a nice impact on me. Trevor James down here in South, he helped me through the mental aspect especially. My foreign coaches, Frank Gagliano, Mark Elliott, my coach at LSU. The agents who helped me out, a whole host of people, my family, you know, my fiance who in the last 2 years of my career, 3 years, I would write the program, but she would hold the stopwatch and time me and give me technique work and all those things. And she played a big part. My brother Akil, he put me onto sports, you know, in terms of just loving football. And that fostered my love for sport in general. So it's a nice journey, and I'm very happy for the journey.
Well, Jamaal, it was indeed a pleasure. Let me wish you all the best in your career now, off the track, but when I mean not off the track, but from competition now onto the track by way of knowledge. And we look forward to chatting with you again and keeping a close eye on the athletes who will come under you to get that experience to take their career along the road.
Yes, my pleasure for being here. Thank you very much for having me.
Right. At least we try to keep the former athletes alive in the public. Let people know that you all are still there and what you all are doing. So we really appreciate you. We appreciate the time that you give to Trinidad and Tobago, and now we're going to appreciate what you're going to give back to the young athletes of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, thanks very much.
Well, viewers, we have come to the end of another edition of Scoreboard here on ACTN. If you miss any part of this program, remember there's a repeat tomorrow at 1 p.m. We thank you for staying with us, and we ask you to join us next week, Tuesday, for another edition of Scoreboard on ACTN, promptly at 8 p.m. Have a blessed week ahead, and remember, early Mother's Day greetings to all the ladies at the women's prison in Aruka. See you next week.